Imagine a grizzled Australian MP, famous for his wide-brimmed hat and no-nonsense style, suddenly exploding in rage at a press conference, raising his fist and vowing to smash a reporter's face over a question about his own family roots. A moment that left the room stunned and the nation questioning if political discourse has hit rock bottom. Smash subscribe now for Aussie political updates. Raw ounce politics unleashed. The scene unfolded in Brisbane on a Thursday afternoon, where independent Queensland MP Bob Katter stood before a cluster of microphones, rallying support for an upcoming anti-immigration march. Known for his decades in Parliament representing the vast rural seat of Kennedy, Katter has long been a colourful figure, blending folksy charm with fiery outbursts on everything from crocodiles to economic policy. But this day, as cameras rolled, a routine question from Channel 9 journalist Josh Barvers ignited a powder keg. Barvers, probing Katter's stance on limiting migration from nations he deems incompatible with Australian values, gently raised the MP's own Lebanese heritage. His grandfather emigrated from Lebanon over a century ago. What seemed like a fair inquiry into potential hypocrisy turned the air electric. Katter's face twisted in fury, his voice booming as he accused the reporter of racism, a charge that hung heavy in the silent room. He stepped forward, fist clenched, warning that such words had led him to physical confrontations before, and he was barely holding back now. The other journalists froze, one murmuring that threatening violence crossed a line no public figure should approach. Katter's son, Robbie, present at the event, tried to defuse with a light comment, but the damage was done. A veteran politician had veered into intimidation territory. As the presser wrapped abruptly, whispers spread. Was this just Katter being Katter, or a sign of deeper fractures in how leaders handle scrutiny? The video footage, captured in high definition, raced across social media, amplifying the shock and setting the stage for a national reckoning. Viewers replayed the clip, dissecting every gesture, wondering if this outburst would finally clip the wings of one of Australia's most enduring political mavericks. Yet, as calls for accountability mounted, a surprising twist emerged. Some online voices rallied to Katter's defence, painting the journalist as the aggressor for delving into personal history. This divide hinted at broader tensions in a country grappling with immigration debates, where personal stories clash with policy hardlines. The incident didn't just spotlight one man's temper, it peeled back layers on how heritage shapes identity in a multicultural nation, leaving many to ponder if Katter's reaction stemmed from pride or prejudice. As night fell, political heavyweights began weighing in, their responses building like a storm, but one key player remained silent, fueling speculation about potential legal fallout. The next morning brought revelations that would escalate the drama further, exposing rifts across party lines and raising questions about workplace safety in the cutthroat world of politics and media. In the corridors of power from Canberra to state capitals, the backlash against Katter's confrontation gathered momentum like a bushfire in dry season. Prime Minister Anthony Albanese, addressing the nation on breakfast television, didn't mince words, urging Katter to review the footage and reflect on behaviour unbecoming of any citizen, especially one elected to serve. This came as a pointed rebuke from the Labor leader, emphasising that public office demands higher standards, a sentiment echoed in Parliament's hallowed halls. Nationals boss David Littleproud, whose electorate borders KATTER'S, stressed the privilege of parliamentary debate, insisting ideas should be battled with intellect, not intimidation, a subtle nod to KATTER'S iconic status not granting immunity. Littleproud expressed hope for an apology but scepticism it would come, highlighting KATTER'S stubborn streak that has both endeared and alienated him over years. Liberal Senator Jane Hume took it further, declaring threats of violence utterly unacceptable in any workplace, whether for journalists or politicians, and calling for real consequences to ensure safety and respect. She flagged the Independent Parliamentary Standards Commission as the body likely to investigate, a mechanism designed to police misconduct and protect against health and safety risks in the parliamentary ecosystem. This commission, born from past scandals, now loomed as a potential sword over Katter's head, with referrals possible from MPs or staff. Queensland's Labor Premier Stephen Miles joined the chorus, condemning the act as out of line, while crossbenchers and independents murmured similar disapproval, creating a rare bipartisan front against one of their own. Yet, amid the condemnations, Katter's camp pushed back. His son Robbie, a state legislator, downplayed the intensity, noting his father's age of 80 and suggesting the aggression, while notable, wasn't overly threatening compared to milder seniors. This defense added a layer of family loyalty to the narrative, humanizing Katter but also underscoring generational divides in political norms. Surprise struck when former MP George Christensen, a conservative firebrand, took to social media endorsing disdain for journalists, sharing provocative images that rallied a subset of supporters who viewed the press as biased agitators. This unexpected alliance revealed fault lines in public opinion, where some saw Katter's fury as justified pushback against perceived media overreach. Channel 9, the journalist's employer, swiftly demanded a public apology, labelling the racism accusation baseless and the threats intolerable, with executives hinting at defamation proceedings if unmet. Bavas himself, a seasoned reporter with nearly 2 decades in the field, expressed shock at such a response from an elected official, a statement that resonated widely and amplified calls for accountability. As the day progressed, the story morphed from a local spat into a national symbol of eroding civility, prompting debates on whether colourful personalities like Katter enhance or erode democracy. Analysts pondered if this could mark a turning point, forcing Parliament to tighten behavioural codes, but a lingering question hovered. Would Katter double down or deliver the contrition many demanded? The answer, when it came, would send ripples far beyond Brisbane. Bob Katter's journey to this flashpoint is a tale woven from the rugged threads of Australian outback politics, where eccentricity meets endurance in a career spanning over half a century. Born in 1945 in Cloncurry, Queensland, Katter grew up amid mining booms and cattle drives, inheriting a legacy of Lebanese and Irish roots that he wears like a badge of honour, yet one that became the unexpected trigger in this saga. His grandfather's migration story, fleeing hardship for opportunity down under, mirrors countless Aussie narratives, making the journalist's query all the more poignant. Katter entered politics in the 1970s, rising through state ranks before federal leaps, founding Katter's Australian Party in 2011 after splitting from the Nationals over economic grievances. His trademark akubra hat and drawling accent have made him a media darling, often going viral for rants on topics like supermarket duopolies or environmental policies he deems destructive to farmers. But beneath the folksy facade lies a history of controversy. From opposing same-sex marriage to advocating armed self-defense against wildlife, Katter's views have polarized. This latest eruption, at a rally endorsement presser, exposed vulnerabilities in his armor, his anti-immigration rhetoric, targeting influxes from regions he claims clash with Judeo-Christian values, clashed head-on with his heritage. The moment Bavas broached it, Katter's restraint snapped, his words evoking past brawls and current fury, a surprise escalation that caught even his allies off guard. Robbie Katter's presence added familial drama, his mild rebuke at the scene contrasting later defences that framed it as a personal affront. The media scrum's collective gasp marked a turning point, as one colleague challenged the threat directly, forcing an awkward pivot. In the aftermath, Katter refused to retract, instead amplifying his stance on social platforms, a move that surprised observers expecting contrition from an elder statesman. This defiance fueled media cycles, with outlets dissecting his psychological state. Was it age-related irritability or calculated theatre? Experts weighed in, noting how such incidents erode trust in institutions, especially amid rising global populism. The Independent Parliamentary Standards Commission's potential probe loomed large, with powers to recommend sanctions like fines or suspensions, a mechanism tested in prior cases of bullying or harassment. Yet, a wildcard emerged: public sympathy in rural heartlands, where Katter's authenticity resonates, leading to petitions and posts backing him as a victim of gotcha journalism. This groundswell surprised urban commentators, highlighting Australia's urban-rural divide. Nine's push for legal recourse added tension, their executive's stern letter demanding apology or facing court, a bold stance that could set precedents for media-politician interactions. As debates raged, the incident spotlighted broader issues like mental health in politics and the toll of constant scrutiny. Would this be Katter's undoing, or another chapter in his resilient legend? The Commission's decision held the key, but an unforeseen development from within his party threatened to upend everything. Stay tuned to Aussie Political Updates for the pulse of ounce politics. The ripple effects of Katter's outburst extended beyond Parliament, igniting a firestorm in media ethics and public discourse that no one saw coming. Journalists' unions rallied, condemning the threat as an assault on press freedom, with the Media, Entertainment and Arts Alliance calling for immediate safeguards to protect reporters from intimidation. This surprise mobilisation drew endorsements from international watchdogs like Reporters Without Borders, framing Australia as a cautionary tale in democratic backsliding. In response, Katter supporters organised online campaigns, sharing memes of him as a defiant cowboy, a backlash that caught mainstream outlets off guard and boosted his visibility among anti-establishment crowds. Political analysts dissected the heritage angle, revealing Katter's family tree. His grandfather Camille arrived in 1900, building a business empire in the north, a success story Katter often cites to champion assimilation. Yet, his selective criticism of modern migrations from Muslim-majority nations raised eyebrows, exposing perceived inconsistencies that the question highlighted. The surprise twist came when leaked audio from the presser revealed Katter muttering about restraining himself for the cameras, suggesting calculated theatrics rather than pure rage. This fueled theories of performance art, aligning with his history of headline-grabbing stunts, like wearing a crocodile skin vest to Parliament. Opposition figures seized the moment, with some Liberals proposing motions to debate parliamentary conduct, a move that could embarrass crossbenchers reliant on Katter's votes. Albanese's government, meanwhile, used it to pivot to migration policy wins, announcing reviews of visa processes to underscore balanced approaches. Robbie Katter's media tour defended his dad vigorously, sharing anecdotes of family pride in their Lebanese ties, including cultural festivals attended, humanizing the MP but also surprising with admissions of past family debates on immigration. Nine's potential lawsuit loomed, with legal experts predicting a defamation win for Bavas if pursued, given the baseless racism slur. Public polls emerged overnight, showing divided opinion. Urban voters overwhelmingly disapproved, while regional one split, a geographic schism that surprised demographers. Social media amplified voices from Lebanese Australian communities, some praising Katter's heritage embrace, others decrying his policies as hypocritical. This chorus added emotional depth, turning the story into a mirror for national identity struggles. As the Independent Parliamentary Standards Commission confirmed an inquiry, whispers of witnesses, including other journalists, promised damning testimonies. Katter's office finally responded with a statement downplaying the event as passionate advocacy, but a hidden clause hinted at private remorse, teasing possible reconciliation. Would an apology surface, or would defiance prevail, risking his legacy? The inquiry's first hearing date dropped like a bombshell, setting the stage for courtroom-like drama in the capital. As the dust settled on the initial uproar, deeper implications for Australian democracy began to crystallise, revealing surprises in how such incidents reshape political landscapes. Katter's threat, while isolated, tapped into a global trend of rising hostility toward media, echoing events in the US and Europe where politicians weaponize personal attacks. This connection surprised local commentators, prompting calls for mandatory media training for MPs to foster civil engagement. In Parliament, cross-party working groups formed unexpectedly, brainstorming codes to prevent future escalations, a bipartisan effort that caught cynics off guard amid usual divisions. Katter himself retreated to his electorate, engaging constituents in town halls.